Have you ever made a decision only to realize halfway through it that it wasn't really your decision? It just sounded good because somebody else said it first? Sometimes the hardest part about gaining clarity isn't finding the answer, it's protecting it once you found it. Welcome back to Coming Home Daily, a weekday devotional practice for intentional living. I'm your intentional living guide, Christian, and if you're ready, let's read. I grew up surrounded by people who loved me deeply. I had a big family, a big church, a big community, which also meant there were a lot of big opinions. Opinions about where I should go to school, the friends I chose, how I wore my hair, what I should wear, the hobbies I pursued. Everybody had something to say. Now, don't get me wrong, I was a very opinionated kid myself. Strong willed, sarcastic, not afraid to speak my mind are all the things I heard growing up. That girl been here before. But if I'm honest, other people's opinions still found their way into my decisions. Sometimes I'd ignore what I wanted because someone else's concerns felt louder or like they mattered more. Other times I do the exact opposite of what people suggested, not because it was what I truly wanted, but because I wanted to prove I could make my own decision. Neither response was actually rooted in clarity. They were both reactions. Years later, after my husband and I had been married for a while, something happened that started to change the way I thought about this. One day he mentioned something he wanted to buy. Without even thinking, I replied, "Oh, yeah, I need one of those too." He looked at me and said, "You got to stop doing that." And I remember thinking, "Stop doing what?" Then he explained. He said, "You wait to say you want something until I decide I do." I had never noticed it before, but once he pointed it out, I couldn't unsee it. Somewhere along the way, I'd gotten so used to responding to everyone else's wants, needs, and ideas that I had stopped asking myself a very simple question: what do I actually want? The question changed so much for me. It didn't mean I stopped listening to people, it didn't mean I stopped asking for advice. It simply meant I started checking in with myself before letting someone else's voice become my own. Here's the thing: over the past few weeks, we've been talking about creating clarity. But clarity isn't just hearing the answer once, it's protecting it. Because the moment you become clear about something, opinions usually aren't far behind. Some will be helpful, some will come from people who genuinely love you, some may even challenge you in good ways. There is wisdom in seeking counsel. But there's also wisdom in becoming someone who knows themselves well enough to recognize when they've already found their answer. Don't let someone else's voice become louder than your own. Pause, reflect, listen, then choose intentionally. The goal isn't to stop listening to others. The goal is to stop losing yourself in the process. Because clarity isn't a class project. It doesn't need everyone's approval before you begin. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is trust the quiet, knowing you've already cultivated. Keep coming home to yourself. And here's your reflection question for today: whose voice have you been giving more weight to than your own? And what would change if you paused long enough to ask yourself what you truly want? And you can repeat this affirmation: I come home to my inner knowing. I release the need for everyone else's approval. I choose to listen before I react. I trust myself to move forward with clarity. Thank you for joining me. And if this devotional has encouraged you, take this with you for today and subscribe so that I'll see you back here tomorrow for the next episode of Coming Home Daily. And if you're ready to live more intentionally, you can find my free intentional living starter kit link below in the description. I'm also building something special for those of you who have been walking through this series with me. Something that gives us more time and space to go deeper. And it's still taking shape. So stay tuned and I'll share more soon. But until I see you again, stay intentional and keep coming home.